Well, this is the second part of my multi-part series where I'm going to review every Sonic game released for the Virtual Console. Now, last time I reviewed the original Sonic the Hedgehog game, so you might think I would move on to Sonic 2. But I'm not, because it's not the next release game. They actually made a Sonic game for the Master System. If you don't know what the Master System is, I don't blame you. Most people don't. Back in the day when the NES ruled the world, there was actually a competing system against the NES, and that would be the Master System, made by Sega. It was also an 8-bit console, and I think there were times where I think it was superior to the NES graphically. However, Nintendo's hold on the market was not to be denied, and it was a modest failure. Sega decided to make a version of Sonic for their older system, and I have to respect that. They didn't just move on to their next system and then ignore the fan base that liked the Master System. Now, I'm sure there's going to be a few people out there that go, I remember this game, but I didn't play it on the Master System. It's driving me nuts! So to answer that question, this game was also ported to the Game Gear, which is probably where you actually played it, if you ever did. Now, the first thing I have to talk about is the footage you see itself. It's the first 3 levels. That's not because I'm not trying to spoil anything. It's because it's a hard game. The first 2 levels were not that hard, but it got way more difficult in the 3rd level. I played the game many more times, and the 3rd level's about as far as I got. So I guess that makes this a snap judgment review. I haven't done one of those in a while. Now, there are continues in this game, but you have to earn them. They're not just automatic. In order to get a continue, you have to get them in the bonus worlds, but more on that in a little bit. Sonic the Hedgehog for the Master System was definitely different. Graphically, it looked really good for an 8-bit game. In fact, it looked pretty close to the 16-bit original. The story is the same as the 16-bit version, with Sonic trying to rescue his animal friends. Now, one of the main differences between this game and the original game is that this is more about jumping and navigating the worlds, and not about Sonic running fast through the levels. The game couldn't handle Sonic going too fast, and that's proven by all the graphical slowdowns, and there are quite a few. Now, this one is truly a platformer with a lot of tricky jumps. The levels are broken down into 3 acts per world, but one of those acts is just a boss fight. Sonic needs to hold on to 1 ring in order not to die. But one of the other differences in this game is that when you do get hit, only 1 ring will fly out, instead of a bunch of them, and you can't recollect it. So that definitely makes this much harder. The level design itself will remind you of a toned down version of the original game, and that's really a good thing. Now, when you get 50 rings, you will go to a bonus zone. I found these bonus zones much more fun than the original game. Unlike the previous game, this world is not spinning around and making you sick, but it has you bouncing all over the place. This is the place to go if you're looking for continues or 1-ups. If you collect them, you're going to need to make it to the exit before the time runs out. So you're going to need to quickly find all these items and then find your way out. Luckily, the levels are usually pretty easy to navigate through when you figure out which springs will give you more of a boost. There are also Chaos Emeralds to find, but they're out in the open in the main world. The only trick is how to get them. Usually you have to find a special way to get it. Sonic the Hedgehog for the Master System was way more fun than you would expect. It's not as crazy as the original game where you're speeding through levels, but it is a pretty good platformer. Now, in my next video, we're going to do Sonic the Hedgehog 2. But not the one you're thinking about, probably, because it's Sonic the Hedgehog 2 for the Master System. See you next time.